Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to the next episode of Total War Arena. So today we are going to be taking another look, revisiting the Carthaginian Cavalry. So I kind of went pretty heavily down this line when it was first released, however long ago, a few months ago. I kind of struggled with it as I went down it. I had a pretty terrible win rate in it. But it has kind of changed a lot, or more specifically hasdrubal, as the commander has changed. Had a few buffs since, which has kind of changed how he plays. I've got them largely upgraded. I was, before I started this video, just having a flip between the two spears. I don't think they carry across though, unfortunately. Kind of one of the problems with these lines, because it flicks between sort of like the Numidian style tribal cavalry and the more professional sort of Carthaginian cavalry. A lot of the equipment doesn't intermingle very well, so it means you never carry much across. So you're always starting from a rock bottom unit, which kind of makes things a bit difficult. The impact damage on this is nice. I'd rather have it over the melee attack. I'm just not sure it's worth the 11,000 for something that isn't going to be carrying over, to be honest. I think I'd rather just plough onto the tier 8 and the Numidians. But more specifically, these cavalry are pretty similar to what they are. They're sort of just an average, middle of the road. They're not quite as slow as Romans, but they're not quite as tough as Romans. So they're kind of like a slightly more balanced Roman. But more specifically, hasdrubal himself as a commander has changed, and his abilities have got a bit better. So we're not fully upgraded. He's still got his cool little charge, and his unit should get 2 charges. Hopefully that's still the same. Yes, they do. They get the cavalry charge and his flying column. Flying column's a nice little thing. Gives you that quite quick acceleration, quite quick movement speed, just for 2 seconds, and you get that little bit of charge impacting impact damage. So it's nice little ability. Then of course we have his deep pockets, which is his buff, which is now stronger than it used to be. Previously it did significantly less than this. It's been increased, and I've not yet got this fully upgraded. There's quite a bit of increasing yet to do on this. It's going to get another 10% melee attack once I get this up. It's going to be 40% melee attack at tier 7. Which is actually now a worthwhile buff doing. And it runs for what, 30 seconds duration? And that's going to be longer. It's going to be 40 seconds by the time I've got this upgraded. So yeah, it's actually now a much more usable and practical ability. Before it was like 10 or 15% increase, and it just wasn't really worth the while to even deploy it because it was too low. And Bribe has also seen some improvements. They've added a reload modifier, and it's gone to plus 40% reload time. Kind of nice if you're just flipping past some enemy cavalry. Enemy archers, maybe that are hiding in amongst enemy units, something like that. And it now does 60% melee attack and 35% weapon damage. So that's quite a significant debuff. That's sort of pretty similar to in and around sort of solo levels of prescription. Obviously lasting 20 seconds. And you do still have to click and select your target of what you wanted to deploy on, but we'll see that in battle in a minute. So yeah, so generally his buffs and debuffs have just been strengthened is sort of the main changes. So he's a little bit more effective now. I think he certainly needed it. But anyway, let's hop into a game with these guys and see how we get on. I've not played them at all for like 2 months, so it could be interesting. So we're loading into the Battle of the Oasis. Kind of interesting matchmaking. Quite a lot of cavalry kicking around. Well, there's 4 of us in total. So we can have quite a bit probably on the enemy team as well. From what I can remember, these guys, I remember trying to use sort of those double charges to try and bait enemy charges, and then you have to dash aside, particularly with flying column because it has that 60% acceleration and 50% movement speed. It's kind of good for rapid manoeuvring, and so that's kind of what I remember is the main sort of attempt on things to be wanting to do. They're not amazing in hand-to-hand combat, but then they're better on things like Greeks and stuff, so they're not so bad in that. And we also got a dash as well, so we've got quite a few movement modifying sort of things. I'm almost tempted to leave a couple of units back and just explore with 1, like this guy is doing. There does seem some wisdom in that, so let's perhaps do that. Obviously our flying column has a really short cooldown, 13 seconds, so have no problem using that time to time just to get a bit of extra speed. And obviously have a movement speed of around 8, not too bad anyway. So these Greeks, if you can avoid their hammer charge, then these are the sort of units that I would like to be engaging. If we can catch them in the right sort of position. And to some extent therein lies the problem. See, like now, they're going to turn away. If they turn now, just leave it. They're going to turn away. Go for hammer, the charge now, flying column. We should get 1. These guys, bring these guys down. Yeah, we'll get this one. There's really no need to activate a debuff on them at the moment because they're going to rout anyway. We are being shot at by archers, so let's pull this unit back. Oh, that's going to hurt a bit more though. Not actually as much as I thought it was going to. And they've now got Italian nobles coming in behind them as well. Which is going to worsen their situation slightly. Go for our flying column. Just a little bit of lag. What on earth is going on here? Oh, we've got 2-second ping. Lovely. Oh, we've still got another enemy unit in there as well. So we're racking up a reasonable amount of points. They're not doing too bad, these guys. Let's try and get a debuff in on there. Rather than, we've got to watch out for these sacred bandits coming down the hill. And let's keep moving. Trying to pull away out of the danger zone. Oh, come on guys, keep moving. Don't stop. And split ourselves back up. So we've got some, quite a lot of enemy units over there. Don't think we want to really be going that way. So let's pull back. Try and sort of stick at least round with some of our friendly units. Give us a little bit more cover to work from. So let's pull back over this way. See if we can get round maybe behind. See if we can find... Sorry, war dogs might be good to charge through. Let's keep having a look up this part of the hill. Got our dash back. Use that to keep us up on speed. Got to watch. There's quite a few enemies coming towards our base, but we've still got a fairly dominant position. These war dogs may be a viable target. Particularly if we can get a nice charge off against them. We just want to be making sure we don't bunch up too much for the charge. Keep our dash going. Presumably they have got ambush on, but no, actually they haven't. Oops, what on earth went happened there? We're having a right mare on terms of computer stuff today. Okay, so rear charge those dogs, and then these guys can try and rear charge the actual handlers themselves. We'll go for a longer charge here, and let's get these guys round. Both mount kick with them. Obviously a better ability. I think that's something that's changed from previously. No, you've been told to go around this way, so do as you're told. Right, let's start getting some debuffs in on these war dogs. As we get sort of stuck into a bit more serious hand-to-hand combat now. And let's bring these units bound round the back and hopefully rear flank them. And then we can also get some buffs on our allies as well. So remember, only a short charge, so you've got to leave the charge quite late before you use it, to be honest, because obviously it's, as we say, it's quite a last-minute sort of thing. Hopefully we can get enough to rout one of them. And we can start to buff ourselves, which is now what we're trying to do, you see. So we're giving ourselves our melee attack and defense bonuses, etc. It's obviously what we want. And these cavalry actually hold up fairly well in hand-to-hand combat like this, particularly against a unit like these war dogs, which isn't actually so strong. Why haven't I got by? Strikes back. There we go. Let's use our mount kick on them. Okay, and there we go. We're cutting them down pretty convincingly. You know, war dogs are always a fair target, I think I remember from these guys. And this still seem to be. Cuts them down. These guys will actually die. It would be nice. There you go. Yeah, so obviously you can apply your buffs to yourself, to your own unit, so long as you're just not clicking on, you know, if I'm using the third unit, then I have to apply the third unit's buff on the second unit, if that makes sense. I'm confident we should still be looking to win this, so let's see where else we can lend a hand. Some Blood Raiders down over here, as well as some Falksmen at the back. All look like fairly inviting targets, if you ask me. So let's try and come in round the back. We'll go for an early charge, I think, just with our standard charge on that one. These Blood Riders obviously trying to get away from us. Doing a fair job of it. Let's go for a longer charge, because we catch up with some of them like that. Oh, that was nice. And then let's go this way and go for our second charge. Straight through them like that. That was a bit better. That's a bit more like it. And look at the amount of damage we're getting straight away. Really good amounts of damage. Let's go in with our bribe, which obviously should massively reduce their combat ability. Look at their melee attack, 50, 58. Go for our mount kick. We may even get them to rout here, look, which will be fantastic. Let's try and keep bribing ourselves. Well, final one to go. And there we go. Look at that, 3,500. Must say, so far, quite enjoyable as a unit. What have we got left? Just some elephants. Let's see if we can get to the cap cycle in time. We probably can't. We'll activate our dash. Certainly, this unit seems to have improved significantly compared to what it was, you know, previously. In the past couple of months, those buffs are now a lot more effective, particularly those debuffs and things like, you know, you activate that on those blood riders, taking their melee attack down to 58. Well, then they're just not going to be able to really land any hits at all. 58 is just not going to be a viable melee attack on a unit like this, particularly if I then activate a buff on myself, which I believe increases my melee defense. It does so, you know, if you can use them in combination, then you really, particularly on targeting a single cavalry unit like that, you know, you're going to be easily able to win. So that's where it kind of works kind of nicely. We can really focus down on your unit, really get those buffs to apply properly, and really just kind of dominate. So yeah, I must admit, quite enjoyable. It looks like it didn't have a restock automatically on my consumables, so I'll have to go around putting all them back on. Obviously, I do run them with 2 consumables, as I do with all my units when I can. But yeah, certainly a lot better than I was expecting, and quite an enjoyable unit to play. So, hopefully you have enjoyed this short video. Apologies for the bits of lag through the middle. I was very close to stopping and reshooting that. So, but we went with it, we'll stick with it, because I've got quite a few videos I want to produce today, so we're going to not lose the time. So, thank you for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about Carthaginian Cav. Now it's kind of changed, you know, it's been slowly transformed into something that's probably a lot better than it was. And, yeah, please subscribe to the channel if you're interested in Total War Arena, and I shall see you all on the next video.